Racing. Let's face it, it's a really hard thing to get into. Where do you even begin? Help me. Help me. Let's face it, racing is something extremely hard to get into. I feel you're into cars, racing is something you want to get into. Maybe it's so you could be better at car control. You can really get a feel for your car, have a bond with it, or just because it's what you want to do. You're a competitive person, or you want to do it like full time. And maybe that's not possible. And maybe, you're a normal human being without the deepest pockets imaginable. The best way to earn money while racing is to not go racing. It is the best and easiest way to drain your pockets. So, is there any possible way normal Joes can go racing without just destroying your bank account and breaking everything imaginable on your cars? You can go get your license and go to schooling, racing schools, and spend a lot of money. And it's not that those are bad, but they are extremely expensive and just not viable for the normal human being that works a 9 to 5. How are you supposed to do this? There are track days, which are one of the more obtainable entries to get into, but it's still really expensive just to get there. Tracks are getting so expensive since people keep wanting to shut them down. It's really ridiculous. I mean, you get pulled over by an officer and told you to go take it to the track. Well, what tracks are we going to be taking them to since all of them keep getting shut down and more and more and more expensive? Is there anything left? And this video is here to tell you there is something left. And that's what I've been doing on the channel. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that many people either don't know at all what it is or have a misunderstanding on what it is. A misconception is the word I'm looking for on what exactly this type of racing is. And that would be Autocross or AutoX. It's an amazing time, and I'm going to kind of go through it with you on exactly what it is, why it's so fun, and how it's possibly the cheapest option to get into any sort of racing. You're going to get bonding with your car, you're going to get car control, and it's super competitive with a ton of super nice people in this community. It's a really tight-knit community. Everyone knows everybody, so you will meet a lot of great people and really get the competitive spirit going. So today I'm going to be going over what autocross is and show some footage from my last race. I actually have one in 2 or 3 days from now. It will be round 5. But from now on, I will be explaining what autocross is and show you some clips of me in my last event in my 2016 Ford Fiesta ST and why autocross is just the bee's knees. So let's start off with what is autocross. So autocross is usually a grouped sanction thing, either online or Facebook. You could find them around your area. They are all over the place. So just have to do a quick look around. There's probably one very local to you, like mine. Mine's a website, and if you sign up to be a member, it's even cheaper than you would be normally. It is $30 for me to go to an autocross event, which is significantly cheaper than literally any other racing that I can really think of, unless you're talking about illegal street racing or something. Track days are outrageously expensive nowadays, and so this is really the best cheap option if you really want to get good with your car control, and a really fun environment. So what they do is they will rent out parking lots, open spaces, resorts, or even a track. A few months ago, they did rent out a track. It was more money at that one. I think it was like $100, but either way, $100 is less than most track days. And obviously, you can kind of just skip that one if you can't make it to that one. But it's not all just parking lots, just most of the time. But it makes it real interesting. And that really comes up with the first misconception about autocross is that it's very boring and not fun because it's in a parking lot. Well, you're just wrong. If you find it boring, it's because you're just obviously not good at driving the car. And if you're not good at driving the car, maybe you should do some autocross and get good at it. And the competitive spirit out of you will come out and you will be having a great time. So autocross, what is it? So in these parking lots, the people that set this up are going to set up a course out of cones, an obstacle course, if you will, with multiple types of cones. There'll be a cone on each side. They're just straight up, and that will be, you have to go through it. That's a gate. Others, there'll be a cone with another cone laid down, pointing in a direction, and you have to go in the direction that the cone points. And that's really about it. You have to get through this obstacle without hitting any cones, going outside any gates. You have to get through it the fastest. And most of the time there are classes, like in my club, there is classes. So you're not going to be going against some crazy actual like autocross track monster thing with your stock little Fiesta like I have. There's classes, and it makes it for some really, really good racing. And it's almost set up like a rally stage, if you will. Each car goes one at a time from start to finish, so you won't be going at the same time. That'd be crazy. So there's no rubbing doors or anything. You won't have to fix your car because you hit another car or something, unless something went extremely wrong. But you will go one at a time, and you get through to the end, and it's the best time wins at the end of everything. So usually it just depends on how many runs you do get in a day. It can range from 3 runs to 6 runs. Kind of the thing to say is the more people there are, the less runs you're going to have. In a way, that's kind of helpful, because another misconception about autocross is that it hurts your car. You know, you're really banging it up. In some way, that's true. Any sort of racing where you're not just driving your car like a grandma, you are increasing the risk of damaging your car. You know, if you want to go racing and you're afraid of hurting your car in any way, you shouldn't go racing, or you're going to be in a world of hurt, because that's going to be happening. But truly, it's not that bad. As long as you don't start the car cold, drive it there like a nutcase, bring it out of the trailer if you trailered it, and then go rip on it like a crazy person from the very start, it's going to be completely fine. I've been doing this for quite a few months now in this season and haven't broke a thing. Let's knock on some wood here. But, I mean, really, it's not that bad. I'd say it's no worse than if you are having a spirited drive in the canyons, right? And also after a run, which is usually like 30 seconds to like a minute and a half, maybe closer to 2 minutes, judging on how big it is, like that racetrack that we went to. You go in, get in line, and you can shut the car off, open the hood, check your tire pressures and everything like that. So there's cool-offs. It's not lap after lap after lap after lap as you just wear down your car and you're terrified that it's just broken. Otherwise, that is what autocross is in the broad scheme of things. So now I'm going to show you a clip. I tried a new camera angle on my helmet. I don't think you're going to be able to see the cones very well, but just so you guys do know, if you guys can't see it, there is obviously cones set up, and the way it is, I just want to show what it sounds like, what it feels like, and that it's not boring, you know? Even though it's a parking lot, it's parking lot racing, you know? It's not something that's just boring. It's adrenaline filled, it's competitive, and you're around similar like-minded people wanting to do the same thing. So roll the clip. So that was my first run. I feel I did pretty okay. The first run you kind of want to take it a little easy. You've walked the track, you've looked at the track, but you've never really driven it. It's always so much harder and different when you actually get out on the course. You may have studied all night long, did like 4 track walks, but the moment you get into the car and drive it, it's so much different. You're going so much quicker. The car is wider than you may have thought it was, even if you have a small car. And these cones come a lot quicker. Turns may be a lot sharper than you originally thought. So taking the first run is a good idea to go a little slow, get the idea of it quick in your head, and then you could start hitting it faster and faster and faster. You might want to get pretty much down by the second one, or you're going to be slow. So it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to roll the clip of my last run, my 6th run, and just see maybe, even though you can't see the cones, which is going to be a bummer, at least you could see maybe a little bit more confidence in the wheel, on the brakes, on the gas, and everything. And I will put up times from the beginning to the end and see how the time difference was. My time difference did go down for sure. I did improve, not as drastically as some others, just because honestly my first run wasn't too bad, and I think there wasn't so much to go upon. So we did get better, and we ended up getting second in class this day, so that was awesome. We lost to a EV rear-wheel drive BMW, so that was a little bummer, but we are still leading in class. So let's roll that clip, and I will put on my finishing thoughts on this video. And there you have it, guys. It's an absolute blast. And now we're leading the championship by quite a good margin in my class, with, I think, 3 events left on the calendar for this season. There's a few others that I won't be able to attend to, but I hope with my gap I can take the win. And it's super fun, as I modify a car, I could move up in classes and go against new cars, faster cars, and see what I need. And doing autocross has really helped me know what this car needs. I love the ST, and whatever car you're driving, even if you've modified it, even if you haven't modified it, you will find weak points in the car where you need to improve. And this has helped drastically. This car is basically stock. I mean, I got motor mounts and a little bit better of tires. Like, that's really it. I got a muffler delete, but like, what is that going to do? And because it's completely stock, it's a blank canvas, and I know exactly what needs to be done on this thing now. It needs an LSD really bad. It needs stickier tires, lighter weight wheels, coilovers, and it needs a bucket seat. I'm fighting myself so drastically in the seat. So with this, I really learned where I need to improve on the car, where its weak points are. And its biggest one is it doesn't have an LSD. And I always knew that I would needed to get one before I started doing autocross in this car, but I did not know how drastically I needed it. So I'm improving my driving. I'm having a lot of fun at it, and I'm also learning what the car needs and where it's weak at, which is great. I always thought I just wanted more power in the car. I wanted it to sound good, right? But I drastically need a better seat. I need to plant myself better in there, and I feel like I'm on top of it. I need to be more in the car. And it needs an LSD. It scrabbles for power way too much, and I've learned that the power is just fine. More power on the autocross tracks would be useless. It would be an effort for no reason. It would be money to spend for no reason. It makes plenty enough power. I mean, I'm beating. There was a Roush Mustang out there. I mean, he made a lot of power, and it was a detriment rather than a help. There's a lot of cars that this little Fiesta beats that have he has less than half the horsepower they do. Makes plenty enough power. And that's another reason autocross is so great. You don't need the fastest, most expensive, highest horsepower car out there. You could take anything at all to go racing. You don't need anything crazy. And it's a lot of fun. So with that, I hope that guys opened your guys' eyes on like what exactly autocross is and why it's such a sweetheart to me, and why I'm having so much fun, so competitive, very cheap, very easy to get into, super nice people, and it's just a fantastic time. I have had no regrets whatsoever, and it's really made me connect with this car more. You know, this car was brand new to me by pretty much when I started this, and now I'm getting so used to it that it feels great. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe check out some autocross groups in your area and try it out. I think you might have a riot. And if you don't, all right, it was $30. Nothing really lost there. So I hope you guys find a local autocross group in your area, and maybe I'll see you out there. So peace out, guys.